Coming up on Mountain News this morning, people across eastern Kentucky took time out of their Sunday to participate in the National Day of Prayer.
And while many churches moved to online worship due to the outbreak, some opted to meet anyways. We talked with the pastor of one of those churches about the decision.
And here in Hazard, people worked together to help gather food for those who are missing meals while school and community centers are closed.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
The time is now 5:32, and I am Lacey Roberts.
I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News this morning on this Monday, March the 16th.
That's right, and the rain is still coming, and it's still going to be here, but the temperatures this week are going to get a little bit higher, so that makes it a little bit better, right?
Until the weekend.
And then when those high temperatures and sun again causes a problem, Brandon, I just don't see how sunshine and good temperatures can make it so bad.
Listen, here's the thing. We're not going to see much sunshine this week, so don't get your hopes up for that one. We are going to continue to see some fog this morning as you head out the door. Let's take a look, and we see across the region there some dense fog, so be aware of that as you hit the roads this morning. For those of you who are hitting the roads this morning, anything less than 5 miles is dense fog, so be aware of that and be careful out there. 40s, 41 Ashland, Jonesville, Jacksboro, 40 in Middlesboro, everybody else in the 30s this morning across the state and region. 42 Paducah, 39 Cincinnati and Charleston, 38 in Lexington, 42 Nashville, and 46 in the Tri-Cities. Hour by hour day planner, well, it's going to be basically cloudy throughout much of the day. You may see a few peaks of sunshine early, and then those rain chances will start to increase as we head into the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours, getting up to right around 56 later today. The extended forecast on the way in just a little bit. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, on Saturday, President Trump declared yesterday a national day of prayer. Churches all over the country participated, including the Summit Community Church here in Hazard. They took time out of their usual service to pray for those in the center of the coronavirus outbreak.
We need to be hopeful and we need to be positive because we are going to get through this. So right now is a time for us to show each other love. And I think praying for each other really helps that to happen.
The church is taking several precautionary measures, such as providing hand sanitizer and cleaning things people touch as they continue to have services.
And last Wednesday, Governor Andy Beshear recommended churches to cancel services yesterday due to large crowds gathering in one place. While many churches opted for an online worship, some continued as usual.
WYMT's Marianne Fletcher talked with one Prestonsburg pastor about his decision to continue services.
We're going to praise the Lord.
We are a hugging congregation, but we will not be today.
Many Eastern Kentucky church pews sat empty Sunday morning.
But we are going to do business as usual.
Tim Searcy is the pastor of Allen First Baptist Church.
I came to the conclusion that if there were no active cases in your community, that the best approach would be to go ahead and have services.
Making this decision based on a few reasons.
Because we try not to panic. Of course, the Bible says God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind.
Plus, no reported cases in the area.
We don't want to overreact, but at the same time, we want to be good community partners.
Amid multiple recommendations, Wednesday, Governor Andy Beshear asked pastors to cancel services due to possibilities of spreading the COVID-19 virus.
And I'm going to recommend that our churches across Kentucky cancel their services for this weekend.
Searcy says they are taking the necessary precautions.
But we have decided to go on with cautions, not shaking hands, not hugging, using plenty of hand sanitizer and stuff.
The main reason boils down to one simple answer.
Because worship and prayer is vitally important to this situation and for the people.
Keeping members safe in service. In Floyd County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
Attendance at Allen Baptist Church was a little lower than usual. Pastor Searcy says he told members if they were feeling ill to stay home. He also warned the older members to be cautious.
And churches across Kentucky are continuing to cancel services amid the coronavirus outbreak, but some are trying to keep going by holding creative ways to worship. David's Fork Baptist Church held its first ever drive-in church service. Pastor Mickey Heidner says he was not pleased when he heard the governor's recommendation to cancel services, so he decided to get creative.
And there was just a couple pieces of equipment that we had to acquire, and we meshed them with some of our own equipment.
Congregation members crowded into the parking lots in their vehicles. Hyder says he will continue to hold Sunday service using the drive-in method for the coming weeks. He hopes to be back inside the church for Easter Sunday service.
Well, as announcements are being made about COVID-19 testing, Cleveland Clinic and University Hospitals have started a drive-through testing site. Jordan Vandenberg has more on how it works and who qualifies.
Car after car, bumper to bumper, in a single file line. This is now the front line in the war against COVID-19.
It's a real effort to do this together. And it's essential for the community that the two biggest medical care providers in the community set up common swabbing centers and have testing protocols that are similar.
Cleveland Clinic and University Hospitals have partnered to bring a drive-through coronavirus testing site at the Walker Center near Carnegie and East 105th. Available for clinic patients on Saturday and UH patients beginning Monday, the program allows people to stay in their car and have a doctor collect a sample. They want to emphasize that you must have a doctor's order to get the test.
What we don't want to do is to flood the waiting rooms and emergency departments with patients who are sick and transmitting a flu-like illness, whether it's influenza or coronavirus illness, to each other while they're waiting. So that's what we're asking people to do.
This testing can be very important. If patients are high risk for coronavirus, we want to make sure that they understand quickly whether this is coronavirus or whether this is a flu-like illness, because obviously if patients have coronavirus, we want to make sure that they stay away from others.
The alliance between UH and the clinic comes as both health systems have developed ways to conduct their own testing, which can drastically cut down the turnaround time for results. However, the tests themselves are still a limited commodity.
Well, whenever anybody has a flu-like illness, and you really can't tell influenza from COVID-19 at this point. So if you have a flu-like illness, we actually don't want you going to the doctor. We want you to usually do a phone call or a telehealth visit, and both of us are geared up to do that. And then you can have an order placed from that, if it's appropriate, to come down and be tested.
Bumper to bumper, they sat in line. This is now the front line against the coronavirus, and the war has just begun. In Cleveland, Jordan Vandenberg, News 5.
Now, as COVID-19 concerns rise, people are taking precautions to avoid large groups and self-isolate. But for the homeless population, it's not really possible. The Catholic Action Center in Lexington is now helping those at high risk. More than 140 beds are filled every night at the center. Director Ginny Ramsey is working to move people to the Cliffview Retreat Center for the next month, but saying it's not isolation.
Just because they're elderly or disabled does not mean they don't need to be protected. They're the ones who need to be protected the most.
Ramsey says they are hoping to open the Cliffview facility as a drug treatment center in May, but it also depends on how long the COVID-19 concerns last.
Summit Community Church in Hazard hosted a food drive yesterday. This comes as schools and senior centers are closing amid the coronavirus outbreak. The pastor of the church reached out to local leaders to see what they needed most, and they said making sure the community is fed during this time is a priority.
Leaders in Perry County schools, Hazard City schools, and also that work with senior citizens said they would love some extra food to give to students, put some food boxes together for senior citizens.
The church is going to deliver the food to people in the community today.
2 states are postponing primaries because of the outbreak. Georgia voters were scheduled to head to the polls on the 24th. Their Secretary of State has delayed the contest until May 19th. On Friday, Louisiana announced they would also delay their primaries. 4 states have contests scheduled for this Tuesday, including Ohio. Kentucky's primary is in May. We have yet to hear about any possible changes to that.
United Airlines says it may have to lay off employees. It plans to cut capacity in half in April. United says it's opening talks with its union about costs and cutting measures. They could include furlough days or pay cuts and maybe outright job losses. Top executives are taking a 50% pay cut. The airline says it carried 1 million fewer passengers than normal in the first 2 weeks of March, and it thinks it will lose $1.5 billion this month. United also predicts until coronavirus is under control, those numbers will get worse.
Later on Mountain News this morning, we'll break down the numbers as weekend box office totals sink to their worst totals in decades.
The forecast this week will feature some much warmer weather toward the end of it and increased rain chances as well. I'll have the details in about 3 minutes.